Hello friends! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Mal and I am the owner and maker of Made by Manny and Mal. Welcome to my last video of 2021. I cannot believe how fast this year has flown by and I'm so excited for the next year. I just want to take a quick second to say thank you to every single one of you who have been along on the ride with me this year. It has been crazy how much has happened and how wonderful of a year it's been. And I'm really excited for what's to come. So thank all of you very much. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. In today's video, we're going to be making a cup that was inspired by my Patreon monthly challenge. As some of you know, every single month in my Patreon group, Made by MANIANDMAL Elite, I do a monthly challenge and I give my members a theme, or in this case, I gave them a color palette, and they have free reign to create whatever they'd like as long as they stay within the theme or the color scheme. So for this month, I gave them this palette, and the only rule is they have to use all 4 colors in the palette, but they can do whatever else they want. So today's tutorial is using this color palette. We're doing a kind of wavy, abstract, like retro kind of thing. These photos are all over Pinterest. This is the one specifically that I was inspired by to create this design. I'm really into this kind of vibe and like aesthetic right now, so hopefully you guys enjoy the tutorial. If you do, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any new videos. I upload every single Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm so appreciative of all of you. I won't have any videos next week, but I'll be back on January 1st, my 30th birthday, with a brand new video. So I will see you guys then. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a safe, happy, healthy new year. And I'll see you guys in 2022. Let's go.
We're using a 30-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven, and I'm going to base paint this using pink Peony from Rustoleum. Here's my paint coverage. Don't worry about being perfect here with your spray paint coverage. We're going to put a lot of glitter on this cup, so your base paint doesn't really matter too much. I'm adding about 2 milliliters of epoxy to the surface of my cup, and then I'm going to go in with my first layer of glitter. So we're going to be using Extravaganza from PDB. It's one of my absolute favorite colors. It has so many different shapes and it's just a beautiful mix. So I'm going to apply that to the entire surface of my cup. You can see it's kind of like a very light champagne gold color. So there's what that looks like. And then I'm going to also add PANTHERA from PDB right on top of that. This is a kind of darker rose gold coppery color. And once I've got that on there, I'm going to wrap my cup up in some parchment paper to get this glitter to lay flat. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of glitter on this cup, so I want to make sure that I don't have to do also a million layers of epoxy. I don't want this to be too heavy in the end. So I'm going to wrap this up just a couple times to get that glitter to lay flat. This is especially important when you're using chunky cuts. It will just save you a whole lot of headache later. So once that glitter layer cured, I went into my first coat of epoxy, and into this first coat, I'm going to mix just a little bit of special edition flurries from Peachy Olive glitters into that epoxy. I'm taking about 30 milliliters of a little extra ink. That's my favorite. I mixed it all together and then transferred it to a bigger cup so it would be easier. I wouldn't spill any of it. And I'm going to apply all of that to the surface of this cup, making sure that I'm going pretty much in the same motion. I don't want to rough up any of that chunky glitter that we pressed down to lay flat. So just take your time with this. This is sped up obviously a ton, but just make sure that you're not making that glitter stand up after you work so hard to press it down. So then I'm going to hit it with my torch right after and let it cure about 8 hours before the second coat. After the second coat, which was about 20 milliliters, I did all of my sanding and then did another just really light coat, maybe like 10 to 15 milliliters. And now my cup is ready for our wavy lines. I'm going to use some blue painter's tape to help me sketch and kind of plot out where my wavy lines are going to go. I'm using this, I think it's 1.5 inch wide painter's tape, and I'm going to tape around the top of my cup and around the bottom using about 3 pieces of tape for each little set. And this is where I'm going to sketch out my lines and plan where they're going to go and how they're going to look. So once I've got my tape on there, I'm going to take a white acrylic paint marker and start to just very roughly draw these wavy lines, just kind of plan out the spacing, where they're going to go, how I'm going to start, where I'm going to finish, and all of those little details. So I'm starting on the bottom of my cup, and I've started towards the top of that painter's tape section, and I want these lines to be kind of looking diagonally. So I'm started at the top and I'm working them down to the bottom, so they're going to meet at the bottom slope, and then we'll go up and they'll have a top slope, if you can see there. Kind of what I mean. I hope this isn't too confusing. And then I'm going to just mimic that line right underneath it. And now you'll see that I'm drawing these like very, very squiggly. These have a lot of little peaks and valleys. And then when I went to cut them out, I decided that I wanted less peaks and valleys, but larger ones. So I totally went off script and I just kind of cut where I thought they would look good. But having this guide still helped me there. So don't feel like you have to follow this exactly. Just kind of plan out and plot where each line is going to start and finish. I want 3 stripes, so I drew 4 lines. I'm going to repeat that exact same process up at the top portion of the cup, and you can always add more tape if you need more room. So I added an extra piece of tape there so I could bring that arch a little bit higher. And this is kind of looking very geode-like right now, but in the end, it doesn't look like a geode at all, but it is kind of a similar technique. So once I've got my lines all sketched out, I'm going to take a very sharp craft knife and start to cut out my waves. And you can see I'm already starting to kind of go away from what I've drawn, which is totally okay. Here I just decided I wanted kind of bigger swooping waves versus these little super squiggly ones. But it's totally personal preference. Whatever you think looks better, you can do. So I'm going to very, very slowly, I didn't speed this up at all. I wanted you guys to see exactly how slowly I was going, how I'm kind of maneuvering around the cup, and just make sure the biggest thing to remember is where your points meet up. So if you start at the top of your peak and you cut all the way around your cup, you want to make sure that your wave, when you finish and meet up where you started, is going to actually meet up where you started, because you don't want any points or straight lines or anything here. Everything is really curvy and wavy, so just pay attention to that. So once I'm finished cutting all of these lines out, I'm going to remove the tape in the middle of that wave so that we expose the glitter section for where we're going to apply the other glitter for the wavy line. So here is our first little wavy stripe all around the cup, and I'm going to just repeat this same process. I'm cutting out lines 1 and 3 for both the top and the bottom sections, and then once I've got those 4 glittered, I'll go back and glitter the 2 middle lines. I just want to make sure everything stays really clean and crisp. So once you've got the tape removed, you can always go back in and trim a little extra. So like I did here, I wanted another big kind of loopy there, so I just cut one out. So then repeating the same cutting process, I added some more tape on the bottom so that I could bring that a little bit lower. And then once I've got all of my tape removed here and I've got these kind of wavy lines stenciled out, it's time for the fun part. So I'm going to take some of this ocean blue acrylic paint and add a little bit of Crystalac glitter glue to a cup, mix them together. And now tinting this really made absolutely no difference. You can see it barely gives any sort of base color at all, but oh well, it ended up turning out fine. So I'm taking a small little paintbrush and just filling in that wavy line. I'm starting at the bottom of the cup and just making sure I have an even coat. I don't want too thick of coverage there. And then I'm just going to go in with my first glitter color. This is Prerogative from PDB, and it's not a chunky, but it's not a fine, if that makes sense. I'm not using any one cut on these. I'm using all different cuts to make this really dimensional and interesting. So for the second color, I'm using BETTA, which is my absolute favorite navy blue glitter. And then for the top little section, I'm using BERTHA from Peachy Olive Glitters. That's a chunkier cut. And then finally, for the first little wavy line at the top, we're using Jade from PDB, which is another top fave of mine from them. So then once I've got those filled in with my glitter, I am going to very, 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 very carefully and slowly remove all of the tape, even the tape in between my wavy lines. So I'm left with just my bare cup, no tape. So then I let this dry about 2 hours, and now I'm ready to go in and fill in those middle wavy lines. I'm making a custom mix for one of the stripes. I'm using Scuttle, 10, 12, 13, and 45 Bistro, all from Peachy Olive Glitters, and then Stuck With You from PDB, mixing that all together. This mix actually turned out pretty good. I'm gonna have to use it on something else. I was pretty proud of that. So then I didn't tint the glitter glue this time because it didn't really make a difference. Just very carefully painted that in, and then went in with this custom glitter mix here. Now just be careful when you're applying your glitter glue. You don't want to get any of it on your already glittered sections, obviously. So just make sure to take your time, keep your lines really, really clean, and everything will turn out really good. So then the last glitter color I'm using is Versailles from Peachy Olive Glitters. It's that really like rich yellow gold. And I let that dry a full 2 hours before I went in to seal it. So to seal it, I'm going to use the same Crystalac glitter glue we've been using this whole time, but you can actually dilute this with water and spray it on as an option. So that's what I did. I did a 2-to-1 ratio, and I just put it in this little spray bottle that I got at Daiso. And now I'm just spraying it on my cup. And full disclosure, I am not a huge fan of this specific spray bottle. I think I'm going to try and find something a little bit different, but I love the idea of spraying on this glitter glue to seal everything in. So I'm definitely going to figure out the best way to do it, and I will keep you guys updated. So once I have enough sealer on there, I'm going to just take a little paintbrush and brush out anywhere that had any little globs of paint or where it just like was concentrated a little too much. I let that dry about 2 hours, and then I went in with my first coat of epoxy over the glitter. I mixed up 30 milliliters of a little extra ink epoxy, and I'm going to apply this pretty slowly, being really, really careful around that glitter. It's sealed pretty well, but I just want to make sure I don't have any contamination. I'm not dragging that glitter where it's not supposed to be. Just really take your time. And then you want to let this cure for 6 to 8 hours before you add another coat. And you'll just keep adding coats of epoxy until this is totally smooth. I did 2 coats to make this totally smooth, and once those were cured, this cup is all done. I really, really love how this turned out. I think I might be keeping this one for myself because I like it so much. I hope that you liked the tutorial. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any new videos. I will see you guys in 2022. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a very, very, very happy New Year, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, love you. Bye.